How about some news?
Here's Jay with the Dumb Zone News.
Well, we'll wrap up hurricane coverage today. As I told you guys yesterday.
It's over? It's gone?
Yes. Yeah. We talked about Lieutenant Dan. By the way, I think we topped out at 16 deaths is the number we have today. Is that anybody else see that? Am I crazy?
Is that limited? Is that good?
I think it is,
like
to be honest. It is a lot, but it's also, how many were Katrina? 1,900.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dang.
So when they were saying, hey, this is the second biggest one to make landfall, I thought, well, okay, that's what I was sizing it up against. But
did you see the place where the Devil Rays play?
Tropicana, the top is gone. They popped the top, dropped the top on the trop.
Yeah, got ripped apart.
That was
It's
pretty
amazing.
good. I like it. Thank you.
I wonder. Wait, you just said what you said was pretty good?
Yeah, he was laughing.
You can't do that though.
Watch me. What are you going to do about it?
It's new Jake.
This ain't on Fox. What the fuck are you going to do about it?
Well, now it's not going to be on Fox.
Just call you brave and courageous for coming back.
Write that time down, Blake. So the story yesterday we talked about was Lieutenant Dan. And I told you that, yeah, he had a little bit of a criminal past. He might have attacked an EMT with a string instrument.
Look, who among us?
Yeah, and I had seen, like a 4x4, like 16-panel thing of all of his mugshots over the years. But it's like this guy's a tweaker who lives on a boat in Tampa.
Or is he?
Yeah, or is he? Right. So the story about somebody with his same name sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl, that actually was not him. That was someone else with the name. But people have dug up his entire criminal past. And it's a lot of what you think it is, Guy was in and out of jail for 10, 15, 20 years.
Little B&E.
Sure. Yeah. Here's one from February 23. A woman was smoking on a bench on the east coast of Florida when she said she and Lieutenant Dan, who was sitting on a nearby concrete bench, began to argue. Suddenly, he poured a 1-gallon container of gasoline, which of course you just have on you, onto the bench between the pair, igniting it. The amputee grabbed his crutches and hobbled over to the woman, who was still holding her cigarette, and splashed her with fuel. So, yeah, he's a violent criminal. And like I said,
we just don't know the dispute. Let's hear her, his side.
The streaming service Kick and one of their stars, Aiden Ross, have rescinded their deal.
Yeah.
His $100,000 boat that they were going to give him and a monthly contract, which I believe was $30,000 a month. And
Same exact thing as the milk and ham guy.
Yeah.
Like some people were offering him this and that, and then they're like, let's back off that.
Yeah, and the only thing that I guess it was the same, but Lieutenant Dan, in the clip I saw yesterday, they kind of came to him and asked him for his reaction on it. He's like, your fault for not looking me up. It's like,
yeah.
He's
that
not
was all
wrong.
public information.
Very
you know?
Shane Gillis.
Yeah, it's like, what'd you...
Yeah, I was surprised they hired me in the first
Yeah.
place.
He's like, what do you want me to say? Yeah, I hit her with a violin. And here's a little bit.
We call that due diligence.
That due diligence. That's right, the business world. This is a little bit of hurricane audio. This is from the Weather Channel. Because you got to make it sports, What's the biggest thing in American culture?
Football.
The NFL. All right, so when we're talking hurricane, let's make it relatable.
Still be in the eye right now. There's a lot more to go. I think back to, the Atlanta Falcons first half Super Bowl winner. We know what happened to the second half when the Patriots came back to life. So do not sleep on the second half of Milton. And we're definitely concerned now with the surge.
That's
Let
weird.
me get this straight.
By the way, I don't think this guy's in Atlanta. He might have been, but I
That
looked
would
at
make
it.
more
And
sense.
You will throw like a derecho or a heat dome or just clearly terms they've made up recently.
Mm-hmm.
we're all pretty familiar with the idea of the eye of the storm. We don't need to equate that to halftime of the Super Bowl.
Also, it sounds like he's like a desperate producer trying to beg you to stay tuned for the second half of the show.
16 deaths in the first half?
Hey, but
Just
who knows?
wait.
Shit could go crazy.
Just
Yeah,
wait.
stay with us.
You might still be in the eye right now. There's a lot more to go. I think back to, the Atlanta Falcons first half Super Bowl winner. We know what happened to the second half when the Patriots came back to life. So do not sleep on the second half of Milton. And we're definitely concerned now with this surge. Which
You guys right now, you're the Falcons. That hurricane?
Right.
Patriots and Tom Brady.
You know how that goes. Oh, look. The hurricane's kissing his son on the mouth. We're in trouble. A theology professor at TCU has been charged with some crimes.
Theology?
Yeah,
Is that like religion?
it is like religion. At the Bright Divinity School at Texas Christian University, his name Charles Kilby Bellinger. And I'm going to show you his face real quick. And I think what I would call this is the ultimate, yep, you guys got me face.
Yeah, the pursed lips.
You can see it on camera there, right?
Yeah.
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 He's like, you can literally hear him going, yep, yep. And that is because he's been accused of storing pornographic images of toddlers on his work computer.
Golly.
Boy, there's... That's a tough one.
It is. I also want
That's
to...
a tough one that it exists. The fact
yeah.
that exists is a...
Yeah. I also want to say shout out to whoever wrote this from the Fox 4 website, because I feel like mostly it just says children or underage kids. This one actually says toddlers, which in some way really drives home how horrible this story
seems
is.
worse.
Yeah, it's like they didn't put like they could have just gone a step further. Toddlers who were into baseball or something. Like it's really specific. Now, the Divinity School is a separate unit, so he was not an employee of the university. If you have questions about how that works, I don't have the answers to them. Not the brightest, no pun intended, for the Bright Divinity School, pedo in the drawer, as they say, because an investigation began after TCU's IT staff reported they found pornographic images with file names including infant and toddler on his work computer. He did not take the fantasy hockey method.
Yeah, you have to put Anaheim Ducks.
Right.
Just so they won't look there.
Or like Las Vegas Aces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the that used to be my porn link folder that I figured if my wife ever opened my computer.
Uh-huh.
And there was, because I have different folders, fantasy football, fantasy baseball. You got to have all your RotoWire and all that kind of stuff in there. But yeah, one was called fantasy hockey. I'm like, what's the She will never, ever go in this folder. She may go in fantasy. You never know, right? A lady might be into picking games or something sometime. I don't know. Rob, I just sent you a text. Let me know if that works or not. Okay.
Yeah, so he's probably not at TCU anymore. I believe he was let go immediately. Update. This is either our annual or biannual update of this story, but an ex-Dallas police officer has been denied parole after she has served half of her murder sentence. This, of course, Amber Geiger. She was eligible for parole late last month after serving half of her sentence.
Boy.
The family of both of John.
The news?
Nationally, really.
Yeah.
The family of Botham joined 6,300 other people who signed an online petition protesting her parole.
Okay.
When it was made available last month.
How long has she been gone?
Sounds like 5 years. But
I'd probably protest that too if it was my kid, right? That got killed.
yeah, I can't. It's hard for me to put myself in that situation.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because
Yeah, you don't
because
know
that
the whole
one, it is, there's a lot of nuance in that one.
Yeah.
There really is.
So you have sometimes the victim's family that will forgive.
Mm-hmm.
and then you have some that won't.
Yeah.
It sucked to be on the one that won't. When
Yeah.
It felt like. I mean, was it proven that it was not an accident? Like it was preventable, and it was not a.
Are you talking about the right story here?
She went to the wrong apartment.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was an accident, right? I mean, she thought someone was in her apartment.
Yeah, she was just on the wrong floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I always thought
apartment
it was,
10 or whatever on the wrong floor.
to me, that's always felt like a manslaughter. But some of the facts would have indicated that she should have had time to recognize it. I don't know.
Yeah,
Seen
I
the
don't know
mon-
either.
The Monster Show on Netflix. The Menendez brothers.
I've not yet seen that.
I've heard good things.
Some manslaughter talk in there.
Is it? I heard they were like reopening the case. Is that true?
Someone sent me a link. I don't know the details.
That's typically how I consume news too.
Kind of saw the headline of a link.
Yeah,
Links
I'm like,
you're sent.
that's crazy. Now I know the whole story,
Right.
and just kind of move on. I don't really do these type of stories too often. It was on WFA's website, but it's from the AP Wire. This happened in Seattle, or at least outside of Seattle, in Washington State, where this particular sheriff's department gets a lot of calls about animals on the loose livestock, dogs that are problems. They're out there in the Great Northwest. What do they call that? Is it Cascadia? You guys familiar with Cascadia?
I've never heard that word before.
It's
Apparently no one in here has either. You're getting no support.
okay, so there's like this part of the Pacific Northwest with Canada where they kind of think they should be able to be their own country. It's British Columbia, Washington, Oregon. I think it might be a small part of California. Nobody's ever heard of this before. They have an awesome flag too. There's a Wikipedia page.
Your seed will find no purchase here.
It's fine.
No one's nodding.
No, I took a risky play there. But a lot of animals up in that part of the world, and they're used to it. But in this case in particular, a woman called 911 saying she had to flee her property after 50 to 100 raccoons descended on it and were acting aggressively, and they effectively basically just eminent domained her home.
How'd they
Oh,
get there
wow.
from Frisco?
Would you like to say something? Perhaps an apology?
I didn't know if they were high school students at Frisco High School.
The joke
We all assumed
failed
that is
because
like the
it wasn't
nickname of the-
understandable.
Nickname of some sports team.
However, we're going to victim blame here because
Do they always go full name when talking about that team?
You know, the first time I was telling somebody about that
Or do we ever
when
shorten
I was
that?
away.
I'm sure they shortened it at one time.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say. There was a lady at my facility who was from Plano, Frisco area. She was like mid-50s, and
She's pissed
well,
that they changed the name.
so when we played them, I think I was a junior. So this is 02, maybe 03. There was one high school in Frisco. And coming from Richland Hills and North Richland Hills, I had no idea where we were.
It was Fields.
It was 100% fields. They have 12 or 14 high schools now. This is within roughly 20 years. But I remember driving up there and being like, where are we? And they were 100% at that time called the Frisco Coons.
And so the PC culture that we all hate is what
Now
caused
it's the
them to
Royals
change
and
it
the Raccoons,
to
not
the
the Rebels and Coons.
And certainly you had your old men in town. They did not like that name change.
No, of course not. So back to the case of the woman in Washington. We're going to victim blame because she told officials she started feeding a family of raccoons decades ago, and it was fine until about 6 weeks ago when the number showing up went from a handful to around 100. Like, so they got on the wire and they're like, hey, we've got this granola white hippie in our back pocket. Bring your boys. And they all showed up, and so they became increasingly more aggressive, demanding food. They would scratch outside of her home at the door. If she pulled up her car, they would surround the car, scratch her car. Yeah.
Damn.
You know, it's very weird being a parent in the age of YouTube because, you know, there's your basic stuff. You know, you've got your educational stuff. We've yet to get to kids opening toys, and I hope that we never get to it, but Blippi, whatever. But there's also just like these random videos online that you'll just stumble across. My daughter really likes animal videos, probably not that niche of a interest. And one day she was like, are there any funny raccoon videos? And I'm like, probably. I bet. So I did a search. One of the first videos that came up, it's a guy in Canada. He has a back porch camera. Old guy. Probably 67, late 60s, 70 years old, and his back porch is covered in raccoons. And he does like a 20-minute video of him, sweet old man. He's like, I went to Walmart today, and you know I got all these hot dogs, and he's feeding them hot dogs, and they're just there's 100 of them, and then he's got Oreos, and then it's real cute because they're climbing on him, and he's feeding them oatmeal, and I'm like, she loves it. She's like, look at all these raccoons. So I look at the tag on the video or whatever. It has like 20 million views. It's just,
yeah.
You would think it's just some guy. Hey, some guy just got a YouTube channel and it's got 30 views. But it's just 20 minutes of him in the dark, out back, in the snow, feeding raccoons. And it's got 20 million views. It's a weird world.
That's all you got to do.
Feed raccoons?
I don't know that. I think.
Why don't we get a live animal in here for the stream team?
Well, we want to do we have to do that. We have to just film trash trucks, from what I understand.
Right.
Yeah.
I see a partnership there. Raccoon videos, trash trucks. They could.
Sure. Something for everyone.
Maybe Raccoon Sean can bring us one.
The guy who got Dez as a raccoon?
Yeah.
I was under the impression that raccoons were generally afraid of people. But there was one morning where I was sitting out in our little rocking chair early in the morning a couple weeks ago reading and stuff, and one came up. There were cats at the facility, like 2 or 3 stray cats that we would feed. And I was just sitting there, and I kind of heard something. And we were like in the woods. So there's armadillo everywhere. Probably 4 or 5 of them. You'd see them every morning just walking everywhere. Rabbits everywhere. And I heard something. And I didn't think about it, and then I looked up, and there was a raccoon, like, from me to Blake, 4 or 5 feet, just sitting there staring at me. What's up? What do you have? And I was like, get! And it just sat there.
See, I'm afraid of a raccoon.
Disease, right?
Rabies, yeah.
Yeah.
Crabs.
And despite the fact that he was from the Valley, had lived in Idaho, my roommate was not cool with animals. Like, he was disgusted by it.
Huh.
Like, I swear to God, dude, every time they would bring us the cleaning supplies, he would take, like, Lysol disinfectant, and I guess he thought this would work. Maybe it does, I don't know. But he would spray, like, the door jamb all underneath our door. He would spray all around the door, and he would spray everything in front of our door, like the walkway. It's like, I'm not having any fucking animals in here.
This sounds like the greatest roommate.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if it works or not, dude. But then the next
He's
morning,
on the market,
and
right?
he would even get like the toilet squeeze cleaner and just coat it like it was caulk.
That's great.
Like all the way on the bottom. I'm like, it smells good, so I don't care, but it's really weird. Huh? Didn't have any more bugs after
He
that.
sounds better than our bug guy.
Well, there's your news.
Do you have that one thing or no? I do. Oh, you do? Okay. This is the video I promised you yesterday. I just thought this was funny. During the, remember the Ron DeSantis, some guy press conference talking about the hurricane? And am I out of line or is it crazy? I want you guys to look at it and evaluate it for those just listening. And just tell me, would you have expected these, what would you call it, motions to be used in sign language for these particular words? Let's see if you can see that. Oh, can you no audio on that? Well, then it's not going to work as well.
They always get like way more into it than
or
you
at
think.
all.
Because it's just like
It's
just like the wind.
Oh yeah,
I'm like,
for sure.
Oh, no, that's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we don't need audio because it's sign language.
The Dumb Zone News. Like and subscribe.